evening, everybody, and welcome. The study we are releasing today, which is Challenges in Transmission of Assets to Nominees and Legal Heirs, put together by me, Mr. Abhay Datar, former banker and consumer activist, and my colleague Akshay Nayak, covers a giant problem that has festered for over 25 years, frankly, with no resolution in sight. So I'm going to run through a very quick presentation because I'm sure you want to hear the discussion. But this presentation will give you the scope of what our study is and provide you some perspective for the discussion that follows. Before that, I just wanted to mention, I'm sure each of you want a copy of the report. So, in the modern world, we give it to you on your phone. So if you are a member of Moneylife and you're part of our WhatsApp and Telegram groups, you will get it before you go out on your phone. If you're not, here's the number on top there. If you can send a message on that number, then before you leave, you will have the report with you, right? Okay, so I'm now going to run through this report and my presentation, Challenges in Transmission of Assets to Legal Heirs and Nominees. It's a problem that each of us encounters. Now, look at the amount. Okay, India's unclaimed fund position, we have said, is 2 lakh crore. That sounds a humongous sum, but believe it or not, since the time we've been working on this study, right until yesterday, the number is only growing. So 2 lakh crore is a conservative estimate. And humongous sums of money belonging to ordinary investors. People like you and me, most of it we think is tax-paid money because this is money that's lying in fixed deposits, bank deposits, bonds, shares, provident fund, mutual fund, insurance. I mean, all of us put our extra money, our savings over there. So in all probability, it is money on which we have already paid very high taxes. The government processes to claim this money are so difficult that it has accumulated because either people don't know it's there or it is very, very difficult to access it. And our study is about the difficulties that people have faced. Now, you'd wonder where this 2 lakh crore, how is it split up? About 25,000 crore is estimated to be in the insurance sector. First of all, I must tell you that the government does not put out reliable data in most sectors. So some of it is reliable, some of it is not. So wherever you see an asterisk, it's an estimate. So insurance is 25,000 crore, maybe a conservative figure. Mutual funds is 35,000 crore. Bank deposits is a pakka figure because the Reserve Bank of India has said that 78,213 crore after being in dormant accounts for 10 years has been transferred to the Depositor Education and Awareness Fund as of March 2023. And you'll see details in the study, we have done a further study which says that at least 1 lakh crore, and this does not include SBI, so without including SBI and one more bank, at least 1 lakh crore is on the way to death because it is lying in dormant accounts. And money lies in dormant accounts for 10 years before it gets transferred to death. Now, shares and dividends go to the Investor Education and Protection Fund. That amount we had estimated at 68,800 crore based on sites like Recovery. But I'm going to show you that that is again a conservative estimate. EPFO, Bank Bazaar estimates at 27,000 crore. This number is growing at 15 to 20% annually. Like I said, the Bomshell 2 days ago was released by Mr. Udgam. He put together all the shares that are listed in IEPF and what is their value. And look at the number that he's come up with. It's stunning. 1,561 companies. The amount is 82,199 crore current value. And this is again not the whole figure because the government has admitted another 5,000 crore which is in interest and dividends and whatever. So the total number will be 88,000 crore in shares and equity and corporate benefits alone. Where is the money? Like I said, equity dividends in IEPF, bank deposits in the Depositor Education Fund. Insurance money goes to the Ministry of Social Welfare in the Senior Citizens Welfare Fund. In fact, that's why I requested many of our NGO friends who work with senior citizens because there are a few things in the study that would be of interest to them. And mutual funds so far remain with the mutual funds. SEBI has some restrictions on what they can do with it, but that is not even transferred because I guess it's still too young and it is going to happen. So why is the money unclaimed? One reason, forgotten investments for various reasons. Sudden death, people have not told families. Then lack of information among claimants and legal heirs and even family members. Or many a times there are family fights which go on for decades because court cases don't end and money gets transferred after 7 years or 10 years, but court cases can take 20 to 25 years. Lack of information is a big reason, and a lot of people you would notice get calls from agents saying that your name has turned up in IEPF, your father held shares. Some of them are in lakhs, some are in thousands, but this is happening to most people, right? The biggest issue is difficulties faced in recovering this money. So a big chunk of our study is focused on that and what can be done to make things easier, as well as the whole process of probate, succession certificates, inheritance certificates. The fact that officials who are supposed to deal with it have no idea what has to be done. So what is the action taken so far? Things are not so bad. They have improved over the last 2 years. One reason is that I filed a public interest litigation in the Supreme Court. Senior counsel Prashant Bhushan helped me. The court was kind enough on the first day to say that it's an important issue and sent notices, after which RBI has come forward and set up the gateway to access information. It's called Udgam. So we had asked for a centralized database across assets, but regulators don't want to give up money once it comes to them. So RBI said we will set up our own database, but at least they accepted the fact that we will make it searchable. Whether it is truly searchable or not will be a matter of further discussion. But progress that you have Udgam, all banks and names are listed over there. SEBI has by far the best initiative, okay? They have done a lot of work and we're quite appreciative. Again, Mr. Rungta deals with them. He'll say there are teething issues. I'm sure many of you will find that also. But in terms of putting detailed SOPs, clear forms, putting it out, SEBI has gone a long way, including creating a death registry. Lots of people used to be hassled by RTAs. SEBI has now said what an RTA can do and can't do. So we quite appreciate it. If there are teething problems, they need to be fixed. It will happen. EPFO and IRDAI also, following the court case, has come forward and said, we have online systems. IEPF also claims it. But those who use these systems know that the claims are far more than what it is. But they are at least thought process wise, they are online. And in principle, they agree that you should be able to handle it and resolve your issues and get your money through an online process. The process is not very workable just now, needs a lot of work, but we have made progress. So what are the challenges that continue? Inconsistent processes for nomination, lack of SOPs, especially with banks. And we have been pleading with the RBI for a long time. We made a presentation to the Kanungo committee. For some reason, the RBI will not do the SOPs themselves like SEBI has done. They pass on the responsibility to the IBA and it doesn't happen. Then there's a high level of distrust because everyone's worried that people will commit fraud, which is why they ask for multiple proofs. So they want indemnity bonds, they want sureties. If you have a probate also, they may ask you for a succession certificate. A lot of that has come out in the survey that we did. There are serious gaps in the legal process also. And one of the things, again, which we will spend less time on today, but it's part of the study, is issues like what happens to you if you have money in the bank, you have plenty of savings, but you become incapacitated, you know, either due to dementia, maybe Parkinson, maybe you're in a coma or incapacitated in some way. There is no thought of what happens to take care of you with your own money. And this is something that we've been advised will probably need a separate legislation, and it's something that we will probably discuss at length with the right groups later on. So what happens around the world? I'm sure that comes to your mind that this can't be an Indian problem. It's a problem that happens globally. In most developed countries, there is an intent and a recognition that the government has a duty to reunite unclaimed property with its rightful owner. So In America, states have central databases. There are some countries which have a central database, and there is always still money after all the processes that never gets claimed, okay, for whatever reason. Maybe someone has no heir, whatever. So there will be a certain amount of money that still remains, which eventually is used for social work and for good causes. But every country has the problem, has resolved it, and the focus is not to be proud of the fact that it's growing at 15 to 20%, but to reduce it and return it. And we want Indian regulators and the government to understand that this has to be the thought process. In America, they go so far as to look at, even if you've not got your last salary because your last company is not paying you, the government intervenes to ensure tax refunds, salaries paid, all that comes under unclaimed money, which you are reunited with, right? So what are we talking about? We want a centralized database, one unified platform. Today there are multiple databases. EPFO has its own, IPF has its own, RBI has its own. We think for an individual to fight 5 or 6 times is really putting a lot of hardship on claimants. A centralized database takes care of it. In order not to have repeated KYC and repeated proofs, we want central repository of death registration. It's an idea we frankly borrowed from SEBI. If SEBI is doing it for the capital market, why not expand it to everybody? It's a good idea. It's there. So we hope that the government will adopt it across. I mean, why not for property as well? Then we want clear SOPs, very detailed, like SEBI has done, put out forms so that officials down the line are not using their brains. They are also not worried that they'll lose their job because they've given you. They follow a standard official process and they get the right documents. They should be in the clear. There are some legal reforms that are required. For instance, we don't understand why 3 cities in this country need a probate. Okay, the 3 presidency towns, it's 77 years after independence, we have a British era thing. Nobody wants to talk about getting rid of it. You have a new criminal code, but this continues because problems that middle class people face is nobody's problem. We are not a vote bank, so this British era law will continue. You know that it costs you 75,000 to 80,000 as fees. Long process, sometimes 2 or 3 years, if there is a dispute, even longer, just to get a probate. Succession certificates are also expensive, but I don't see why all this cannot be simplified and made faster. The advantage of a centralized solution, you have a unified platform, it consolidates all finances. You get a single snapshot at one place of whether you're owed anything from different people, and you can make the claims in one place. You have technology to play the role of integrating everything. You have to leverage fintech solutions. And the expected impact, of course, is people are happier. They get their money. There is more transparency. There is faster claims processing and a significant reduction in unclaimed assets. So this is the number if you want this report. So, please WhatsApp us and you will get it.